Oh, what's up, everybody? My name is Erin, and welcome to the Mad Maker Studio, and welcome back for Astrologaster Part 12. We ended last episode with our friend here, Mr. Archbishop John Whitgift. We diagnosed him with the French pox and gave him medicine for it. We've got 5 letters of recommendation now, so we've got 3 more to go before we're able to appear once again before the board and potentially obtain our license to practice medicine. So let's see what crazy person comes through our door next, because all of these characters have just been a wild ride and a half.
Here comes Lord
Of course.
Devereux, ready to fight. Wild-eyed and restless, he's been up all night. He may not know much, but he knows that he's right.
Okay, I stand corrected. If anyone saw my achievement pop up here in the bottom right corner, I've got 6 letters of recommendation now, so I only need 2 more. So this game is moving along a lot faster than I initially thought at the start of this episode.
Ah, give ye good morrow, my lord. I trust your lordship is well this day.
Well? God's body, am I likely to be well? I have been languishing under lock and key while all England goes to ruin.
Ah, yes, I did hear something of your arrest. I take it your encounter with the Queen did not go as well as planned.
Nay, 'twas a disaster. I took the precaution of seeking an audience with Her Majesty just after dawn, to be sure I would find her alone. But when I entered her bedchamber, she let out such a blood-curdling scream it alerted the palace guards, who ran into the room and arrested me.
But you were imprisoned in your York House residence, were you not? The fact that you were placed under house arrest and not imprisoned in the Tower surely speaks to the Queen's fondness for you. I trust your time in confinement was not uncomfortable, at least.
Well, yes, my time away from the world and its trifling concerns did, in truth, prove useful. It afforded me time to reflect on larger questions, to take stock of my life and put recent events in perspective.
Ah, I see. And what resolution did this quiet period of sober reflection bring you? A closer relationship with God? Or perchance you are resolved to spend more time with your family?
What? Nay, I said my mind was turned to larger questions. To wit, am I destined for greater things? Am I chosen by God to rule a kingdom? For I must needs act. The realm is under threat from within. For why was I verily imprisoned? Was it merely to punish me for some trifling mistakes I made in Ireland? Nay, 'twas to separate me from the Queen.
Well, I imagine after discovering you in Her Majesty's bedchamber...
Do you not yet see? The Privy Council means to keep me away from Whitehall, lest I see how they have contrived to control and manipulate the Queen since I left for Ireland.
My lord! Are you saying the Queen is weak and no longer in control of her reign?
Aye, indeed. Something must be done about it. Well, man, do not just stand there.
Yes, of course, my lord. Let us see whether the stars may give you your answer. Is Robert Lord Devereux, Earl of Essex, destined to, rule England?
Mr. Devereux, I feel like you're asking a lot of me right now, like way more than I should ever be qualified for, but sure, let's see if we can help you out. Am I destined to rule England? No, you are not. Devereux should use his substantial wealth to cleverly ensure cooperation with his plans. In short, he should engage in bribery. Mercury, this indicates intelligence. Venus, this represents cooperation. Robert Devereux is a strong authority figure. The Sun, this represents authority. And Mars, exalted in Capricorn, this represents strength. Oops. The Queen's failure to produce an heir will have violent consequences. Uranus falling in retrograde. This indicates a violent reversal. Robert Devereux suffers from geopolitical ignorance. A foreign sovereign is destined to rule England. Jupiter in detriment in Virgo. This indicates ignorance. Devereux is deluded about his legacy. Yup. Neptune in retrograde. This indicates a head turned by confusion. If Devereaux does not reign in his ambitions, he will die. Pluto in retrograde, this warns of death unless there is a change of course. It's very likely. Devereaux would do well to limit the influence of his friends of ice upon him. Saturn, this advises constraint. Devereaux is secretly motivated by his feelings about the Queen and how he has been treated by her. The Moon, this represents a woman, Queen Elizabeth. I think this is the appropriate answer. Because I don't know if he sees us as a friend, but definitely of someone with some authority to like influence his decisions. So he needs to stop relying on me to justify what he's doing. And he does seem like he's more motivated, like he's taking this personally. So I'm going to go with C.
My lord, the stars give you warning against paying heed to the counsel of friends. Was it, perchance, a friend who planted the seeds of these suspicions? To wit, your lordship's concerns regarding the Privy Council?
Indeed, it was my friends who apprised me of the threat, but I see no reason to doubt them.
My lord, for the sake of your safety, I must ask you honestly, is it verily plausible, this notion that you were imprisoned on the Privy Council's orders to hide some manner of grand conspiracy? Or might the truth be far simpler, though harder to bear, that the Queen had good reason to punish you, and you are now vexed that you are no longer her favourite? Of course, I say this with the greatest respect and the greatest of...
What? God's teeth, man! What is in you this day? Indeed, I will not suffer to be lectured in such a manner. 'Tis apparent such complex affairs of state are far beyond the understanding of a commoner. Forsooth, a mere astrologaster. I bid you a final adieu, for methinks I will have no need of you henceforth.
But my lord,
My duty is clear. For the sake of the realm and the safety of its people, I must act without delay.
Astrologaster.
It took us this long to get to the title of the game. The querent did wish to know whether he is destined to rule England. I did advise the querent that he was not destined to rule, and that he must not allow his friends to convince him otherwise. Methinks the querent took my advice most ill. My claim to the throne may not be as strong as the Stuarts, or the Lennoxes, the Greys, or the Yorks, but a pox on all their houses. God has chosen me. I just have a love-hate relationship with this guy. We've got to be getting close to the end of the game. How many more times can he come and see me?
Good day, Dean Blag. How now, good sir? I see you do ale of something.
I do ale of something, foreman. Forsooth, I fear I am very ill indeed. For I tremble day and night with fever, and my face does itch and prick with pain.
Verily. You do exhibit upon your nose and cheeks a rash of a most remarkable hue.
Before you do this reading for me, foreman, I must have your word that you will not speak of this to my wife, Alice. In truth, I have had her believe that I was set upon by an angry swarm of wasps that have lately been nesting in the north transept of the cathedral.
I do understand. A kind husband would naturally wish to shield his wife from any undue distress.
Yea, that of course. And there be also the small matter of the promise I did make to restore the Blag family fortune before I died, and thus not leave my wife and children to live in penury when I am gone. If Mistress Blag were to think that I am gravely ill, it would provoke some awkwardness between us that I would rather wish to avoid.
I take it then that your finances are also in poor health.
Alas, they are. For as you accurately predicted, the Archbishop never did grant me the bishopric of Salisbury. It would seem his grace is content for me to remain in my current state of penury.
I see. Well, as to your wife, Alice, be not afeard, sir. We doctors take querent confidentiality most seriously. As Hippocrates did say, testa Apollinum medicum secreta, among other things. Now, mayhap we proceed to consult the stars on the matter of your condition. With what disease is my querent Thomas Blagg troubled, and how may he be cured?
I have a red nose and cheeks and much bodily pain. What ails me? 'Twas a witch, sir. Blagg suffers from erysipelas, a severe skin disease of the face that is accompanied with pain and fever. Pluto, this suggests the possibility of death. Aries, ruler of the face. Oh, not a witchcrafty answer in sight. How refreshing. Blagg is troubled with evil digestion caused by the overconsumption of strong drink. No, that's his wife. Virgo, ruler of the digestive system, and Jupiter in detriment in Virgo. This suggests a mild imbalance of blood. No, so red nose, bodily pain. Blagg suffers from a bone shaw, being a knob-like growth rising on the shin. It just says answers. But that's Aquarius. The sun in detriment in Aquarius. This suggests the condition is chronic but intermittent. Mars, this represents an imbalance of yellow bile color in the body. Oh my gosh, do we finally get to pick our boy Aries? And it's not an answer related to witchcraft? Yes, please.
It would seem you are troubled with a severe disease of the skin known as erysipelas. It is quite serious, though you may find some temporary relief from the pain and fever by vigorously purging from your fundament. To induce such a thing, I do advise the consumption of a considerable quantity of prunes, or mayhap rhubarb. Of course, it does depend on the season.
Erysipelas? Prunes? Oh, merciful Lord, if it be thy will that I should die, and if thou hast writ these mortal signs upon the stars, I beseech thee, have thy servant Simon Foreman speak the truth.
Prithee, sir, I had not finished. Oh, my dear friend, I will not lie to you. Your condition is quite advanced. In truth, I fear you must prepare for the worst. If you will not share this grave news with Mistress Blagg, perchance you might speak to her from the safety of, from beyond the grave? That is to say, write her a letter that may be read to her after you're gone. Your loving words, though thus delayed, may provide her comfort in her time of grief and destitution.
God bless you for your candour, sir, as well your wisdom and friendship these last years. I will now go and pray upon what you have told me.
I am genuinely shocked that he called us a friend. The querent did present with a rash on his nose and cheeks and much bodily pain, wishing to know both its nature and its cure. I did diagnose a severe case of erysipelas and advised the querent that he may die. I advised him to write a letter for his wife to read upon his death. Methinks the querent is most pleased with me for the reading I gave this day, and that was our last consultation! Score. We've got one more to go. May the Lord absolve me of my sins, for I fear my wife Alice will not. Truth.
An explorer's wife cannot share his life. She is left alone, she is left alone. Whilst he is at sea, in a wave so she. Going, 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 going,
So she's like getting cabin fever.
Good day, Mistress Fortescue. How may I help you this day? You seem a little out of breath.
Aye, 'tis but my bodice. My maidservant did lace it far too tightly. Methinks she is a trifle vexed with me. Indeed, the atmosphere in the Fortescue household is exceeding ill at present.
Verily? And why is that?
Someone has been stealing food from the larder in the night. This morning, 3 whole swan pies were missing. Each member of the Fortescue household suspects another.
And whom do you think is the author of these thefts, madam?
Well, I suspect my son Harold, as his fondness for pie is well known. But Harry denies it and has accused our maidservant Gladys. And 'tis true that Gladys has become suspiciously wide about the girth of late. And as for Gladys, well, she is convinced the culprit is our African parrot, Sir Muncelot Grey. But Sir Muncelot has denied the accusation and blames my monkey.
Ah, and who does your monkey blame?
How now, Dr. Foreman? Be not absurd. Monkeys cannot speak.
Ah, yes. Then 'tis fortunate that God can. Speak to us, that is, by way of the stars. Who in the Fortescue household has been sneaking into the larder at night to steal pies?
Who ate all the pies? Sybil Fortescue is a hypocrite. She needs to turn her finger of accusation on herself, for she ate all the pies. Jupiter in detriment and retrograde. This indicates hypocrisy and advises reversal. She did accuse her maidservant of tightening her clothes a little tight. Maybe she tightened them the normal amount. Sybil's family and friends have exercised constraint and discipline in relation to the pies. Saturn, this suggests discipline and constraint. Sybil's intuition about the identity of the pie thief is wrong. The solution to this mystery is counterintuitive. Neptune in retrograde, this advises reversing instincts. The thief is the one suspect who has maintained their silence. Venus exalted in Pisces, this represents a quiet companion. And the Fortescue children have been raised well, they know not to steal pies. Mercury, this represents education. Evil from a foreign country is indicated here. Uranus falling in Taurus, this represents evil. Mistress Fortescue is advised to make changes to her will. She must cut her maidservant out of it. The moon, this represents domesticity. Pluto, this advises transformation. Mistress Fortescue's maidservant is untrustworthy and aggressive. The sun in detriment in Aquarius, this indicates untrustworthiness. Mars, this suggests aggressiveness. I think she's being a little glutton.
Madam, I have both good and bad tidings for you from the stars. First, the good tidings. Neither your son, your servants, nor your pets are responsible for the thefts.
Excellent. Indeed, that is well to hear. And the bad tidings? Oh, my days. You mean 'tis someone from outside? A burglar has been entering our house during the night to raid our larder.
Nay. I am not quite sure how best to put this. The bad tidings are that, according to the stars, the pies are being stolen by you, madam.
By me? But do you jest, Dr. Foreman? Doubtless the theft of our pies seems trifling to you, sir. Methinks I shall take my leave now and not importune you any further.
By all means, my lady, I only need one more letter of recommendation, and there are plenty of other characters. The querent wished to know which member of her household was stealing pies and other food from her larder at night. I did tell the querent that she herself was the late-night pie thief, and methinks the querent took my advice a little ill. Methinks Harry may be right. How else could Gladys have grown so fat?
Humphrey Bell, to play our leading Jane. You must pay 'tis all your guilt and shame that you be judged, and we accord you blame.
Good even, Mr. Bell. What brings you so late this evening, young sir? Have you come from the playhouse?
Yea, I'm come from playing a duchess in a special performance of Richard II. You know, that play that makes the Queen look bad.
So, Mr. Shakespeare decided to revive his play, did he? I see.
I need you to tell me what to do about my pay. Our seamstress told me she heard Mistress Burbage discoursing how John Crisp is getting paid a full shilling for each performance.
And you feel this is unfair, I take it? I gather Mr. Crisp's pay is greater than yours.
Aye, sir. 'Tis full twice as much coin as they pay me. What I get is barely enough to cover my rent. And my parts are well bigger than his, innit?
And you can fathom no reason for this disparity in pay? He is more experienced, perchance.
What? I've been on the stage since I was a boy, and John's been playing for less than a year. Nay, sir. Mr. Burbage and them other company sharers are paying me less on account of how I'm doing the lady parts.
You mean to say you are being paid less simply because you perform lady roles?
Indeed. John only gets them main parts because he's big and tall, but I'm well better than he is. Critics call my Ophelia the most tantalizingly nubile and tragical performance since Henry Condell's Juliet.
Ah, yes. Having seen Hamlet, I would have to agree with them there. I must own that I, too, found your Ophelia most comely and alluring. Now, let's see what the stars advise. What can be done about you being paid less than players of masculine roles?
I'm being paid less than players who do the man parts. What can I do about it? This cuts deep. Humphrey should wait. Pay equity will come in time. Saturn, this represents time. Humphrey can solve his problem by using his romantic allure to seduce a woman. The moon, this represents a woman. Pluto, this represents sex. Humphrey should continue to perform his duties and remain quiet about the discrepancy in pay. Venus exalted in Pisces, this advises quiet. Humphrey must uncover the truth about what his colleagues are paid. Neptune in retrograde, this advises a reversal of deception. Secrets are allowing Humphrey's employer to behave hypocritically. Jupiter in detriment in retrograde, this suggests hypocrisy. Humphrey's employers are shrewd businessmen. Mercury, this indicates intelligence. Possibly a good answer for this. Humphrey's boss will do evil to others if it means safeguarding his legacy. Uranus falling in Taurus, this represents evil. Humphrey's boss's wife is pregnant with a masculine child. His boss, therefore, cannot be trusted. What? The sun in detriment in Aquarius, this indicates untrustworthiness. Mars, this represents masculinity. I don't get it. Maybe I'm not paying enough of attention to what's happening when they're speaking. But I'm gonna go with this one.
According to the stars, your employers, the Lord Chamberlain's men, are very wise businessmen.
How do you reckon that? On account of them contriving to pay me less than I deserve?
Precisely so, Mr. Bell. And being so wise, they doubtless deter their hired men from discoursing upon the coin they receive for their labour, perchance to the extent where the men harbour such feelings of shame and suspicion about it, they would more readily show each other their privy parts before they would show their pay.
Aye, 'tis true enough. We oft pull our yardles out when we're jesting about and that. But as for a man's pay, forsooth, 'tis considered most private.
Well, such prudery must end if you and your fellow players are to advance your interests, Mr. Bell. Indeed, methinks that if you were all to begin freely discoursing upon these matters, you will find you are not the only player being paid unjustly. If you do decide to demand more coin from your employers, I advise you to unify with the other hired men and speak as one voice.
Zah! We shall unify and demand them company sharers pay us equal coin for equal playing.
The querent did lately learn he was being paid less than players who perform masculine roles and sought my counsel on what he might do about it. I did advise the querent to encourage the other players to share knowledge of what they are paid, then go together to demand coin that reflects the value of their skill and experience. One thinks the querent was a little pleased with me for the reading I gave this day. I wonder where he got this notion of unifying from. Dr. Foreman is well ahead of his time, innit?
Hear ye, hear ye! Earl of Essex, foiled in Queen, kidnap, attempt, shocker! Biggest treason fail since Babington plot! Hear ye!
We told him not to do anything crazy, and what did he do? Robert Devereux, Earl of Essex, has been arrested for plotting to kidnap the Queen and install himself as protector of the realm. Devereux is reported to have bribed a company of players to stage a revival of William Shakespeare's King Richard II. As this play invites treasonous comparison between the weak and incompetent King Richard and our present sovereign Queen Elizabeth, it was Devereux's intention to use it to rouse an angry mob and lead them to the gates of Kensington Palace. Failure to muster sufficient support from the London populace, however, Devereux was compelled to return home to Essex House, where he was arrested. Good. Good. If you storm into a building, let's say, with the intent to kidnap or execute a political official, you should be arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, because at that point you have committed treason. Too soon?
Alice Black, she is a wife. 'Tis one way to live a life, oft with misfortune and with strife, especially if you be Black's wife.
Welcome back, Miss Blogg.
Good day, Mistress Blogg. Pray tell, how did things fare with your gentleman friend, Owen Wood, the Dean of Armagh?
Alas, 'tis all over betwixt me and Dean Wood. I did ask him for a small loan, and he was most insulting about it. We have not spoken since. And I think I know why his ardour for me has cooled, for I did lately learn that he has been bedding half the women in the diocese.
Ah, yes. I too did lately hear of this.
So it seems your stars were right. There verily were other women vying for Dean Wood's affections. But this day I am come about my husband. Methinks he is ill, yet he pretends he is not.
Ah, pray describe his symptoms to me.
Well, yesterday I did remark that something was amiss when Molly McDoon and I returned from the playhouse. There was a special performance of Richard II at the Globe. Know you of it? 'Tis the play that makes the Queen look bad.
Aye, I know of it.
When I came in the door, there was an awful racket coming from our upstairs rooms. I went to see what the matter was and found my husband tucked up abed, moaning and wailing, and with a monstrous rash all over his face. He told me some nonsense about having been stung by wasps, and that he is merely tired. But I do not believe him.
I see.
I bid you, Foreman, tell me true, for I grow ill with worry. Is it grave? Blogg had better not think of dying on me afore he has paid his debts.
Ah, for as his widow, by law, you would inherit them, would you not? But mayhap there is little to worry about. Let us consult the stars and see. What ails Thomas Blogg, the Dean of Rochester?
Oh man, we gotta tell her the truth. What ails my husband, Thomas Blogg? He is sick abed with a mighty rash. Virgo, ruler of the spleen. Thomas Blogg is troubled with the melancholy, a disease characterized by much woe and a preference for remaining abed. Jupiter in detriment and retrograde, this suggests a mild deficiency of blood. Scorpio, ruler of the privy member. Thomas Blogg is suffering from swelling in the cods. Gross. Saturn, this represents black bile. Thomas Blogg is ill with erysipelas, a disease characterized by bodily pain and redness on the nose and cheeks. Pluto in retrograde, this suggests the possibility of death. We have to be honest with this woman. She's giving us another letter of recommendation, I think. We have to be honest with her.
Alas, I am afeard your husband is ill with a disease known as erysipelas. He is in grave danger. Indeed, his case is advanced and beyond treatment. There is nothing to be done now, but prepare yourself for his death, Mistress Blagg. Madam? Alice? Come, Alice, I will find you a chair.
Nay, I must not tarry. I am meeting Mistress MacDoon at the Bear for a quiet one. Good day, Foreman.
But Alice...
Oh my gosh, she's speechless. The querent's wife did come about her husband, whose symptoms include loud moaning, a severe facial rash, and a preference for remaining abed. I did diagnose erysipelas and warned the querent that her husband would most likely die. And let's get real, the blogs, we have been on quite a journey with both of them. Oh my, another letter of recommendation. We have our 8. Oh, she's so speechless. I think we shocked her. All right, everybody, now that we have seemed to have received our mandatory minimum of 8 letters of recommendation, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here. Thank you for joining me. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you next time as we are closing in toward the end of this game. Bye!